everybody, and welcome to Mind Blowing Energy and You, bringing the woo-woo to everyday living. I'm Lynn Profit, your host from Living Currents Energy and Life Coaching. And today we have a great guest. We have Kim Carson-Richards.
Yay.
There she is.
Hello.
But before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, which is A Chime for Healing, custom-made wind chimes that are tuned to healing frequencies. And you can check them out on achimeforhealing.ca. All right, so Kim Carson-Richards, you are with Forward Momentum Coaching Solutions, and you are a certified business and life coach.
Yeah.
And we're so excited actually to have you here today. Like, what an awesome chance meeting, I guess. And
I know. Thank you. And I'm so excited to be here with you today. Yeah, we kind of had I came out and we met and we had this amazing connection right away. So I'm so glad that I get to be here with you today.
Yeah, you're one of those people I feel like I've known for years.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think too, just the experience we had together, right? We got to really openly share, and that really helps you create a connection really quickly with people. So
definitely.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to our chat today. So
yeah, well, I mean, you do a lot of amazing things, and you've had a lot of amazing experiences. But can you just start by telling us what it is that you do and how it benefits your clients?
Sure. So like you said, I am a certified life and business coach. I'm really passionate about working with women entrepreneurs. I have over 20 years of business experience. I had started out in retail and took a really vertical path up to a corporate office for a large national chain. And I was a furniture buyer, actually. So I got to do really cool things like go to China and furniture shows in Vegas and North Carolina. When I made the decision to become an entrepreneur, it was hard and sharp, and a lot of people didn't understand why I made that choice. But I had been really familiar with taking the unconventional path in life because I had actually been a mother since I was 14 years old. So I'm very okay with living in an uncomfortable place. Comfort zone is not something that kind of limits me. And so I'm really passionate about helping other women find that same comfort. It can be really hard as an entrepreneur to stretch outside of what you know, because you have to do it all, right? Yeah. Especially in the beginning. And it's like, what's my next step? Where do I go? And even you can have a ton of experience and you're suddenly on this learning curve, right? And that even with all my business experience, I started my business and I was like, whoa, okay, now I have to do it all. And how do I do this? And where do I go next? Yeah. So as I was learning and growing, I felt this really deep passion to help other women entrepreneurs do the same. So I really love to work with women who are in startup or their first 1 or 2 years to kind of get the momentum they need. A lot of the work is around mindset. So we can really hold ourselves back. You fear failure, or you even can fear success, right? What if I do get to where I want to go and it changes everything? Yeah. There's a lot of mindset about managing your relationships, because a lot of times other people don't understand why you've made this decision. And that can be really hard, right? And so you really have to have a deep self-worth to be able to work through that and manage that. So a lot of the work I do is around mindset and self-worth. But then we blend in consulting about how do we grow your business? What's your strategy going to be? Are you treating it like your business, or are you still treating it like the hobby that it started out as? Because sometimes it's like that for a lot of women entrepreneurs. It's something they started on the side while they were raising their kids or working still. And then they go full time and they're not quite treating it like a full-time company, right? Yeah. And so a lot of that is working around how do we think differently about this to get you the momentum you want to make the profit that you desire. Because, we need to make profit. That's really, why we start. Even though you may have a passion, you still need to be profitable to support your family and yourself, right? So that's really what I do. I also incorporate, I love public speaking. I am an instructor. And so I've actually just started doing some of that. I had a one-on-one workshop actually with my first male client yesterday, which was really cool. And it went awesome. So I'm going to branch into that some more. But yeah, so that's kind of me in a nutshell. I like to say to people, I help you tame squirrels. All those brilliant ideas you have that swirl around your head that don't see the light of day because your own self-doubt and worry keeps it stuck in your mind. and unload that junk drawer of the self-doubt and the worry that keeps you awake at night and keeps you from making the momentum that you want in your business. So that's what I do. All kinds of fun stuff. And I love it. It's amazing. It's amazing. I love being a coach.
I actually have a very similar, process to becoming an entrepreneur. And now I'm sitting here listening to you going, where were you when I first started? I was like, wow, that sure would have been helpful.
Yeah, I know, right? And honestly, even for myself, when I started out, the best thing I did was hire a coach.
Yeah.
Even though I had all this experience, it's completely different than when you're working with a company where you have experience in all the areas, but it's not your main responsibility, right? So I hired a coach, even though, I didn't have the money. I was like, no, I know I need this. I need to invest in myself. And the momentum I made in the first 30 days of my business, it would have taken me 6 months without money.
Yeah.
Right. So it just helps you get to where you need to go so much faster.
Yeah. That would have been nice, but I did learn a lot along the way. Yeah. We'll go with that. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot trial and error too, right? And so, that's why I love helping. And even like I've made mistakes and then I can share my wisdom. Yeah. Don't make this mistake. I want you to do it the right way.
Well, it is interesting too, actually, being a coach myself but just seeing the difference in people's journeys and how they unfold and what works for them and what doesn't. Like I know for myself, it was a little bit tough being told, oh, you have to do things this way. Right. Or it doesn't work. And I started doing them and they felt so uncomfortable and so not me.
Yes.
And that actually, it was a huge learning experience, like in the sense that it was great because I got to learn a lot more about myself.
Yes.
So, like, I guess in a way it wasn't what you would see the coaching as being beneficial in, like, here's what to do and all of a sudden I'm successful. Yeah. But it was, here's what you should do. And I got to learn more about me and what works for me and what doesn't. And I think that actually probably benefited me just as much, if not more. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. And I think especially like you can go on Facebook and there's a ton of ads. Like you must do this. Don't do that. And they're all saying the exact opposite thing. Yeah. And so I think you're right. You need to figure out what's right for you and for your business. Mm-hmm. And that's why with each client I work with, I do a customized package for them. We look at where they're at, but I never say you should do it this way. I'll say, I did that and this is what happened for me and it didn't work. So maybe you might want to think about it differently. But if someone has a path really set in their mind, I would never stop them from, that's not my job. I'm there to help them and to, in a lot of ways, play devil's advocate. And I'm sure you do that. Well, what if you think about it this way? Right? I'm not here to give you the right answer, right? But like, what if you thought about it this way? Let's think about this differently, And so absolutely. I truly believe that every mistake has a lesson. Mm-hmm. Even the hardest times we learn and grow from. Yeah. So I would never completely try and take that journey away from someone. I'm just there to kind of prod them along and get them to where they want to be faster. Yeah. Without making any like detrimental mistakes that are going to like really keep them stuck. But it's interesting because I find no matter the client, our core issues tend to be the same. And a lot of it comes out of our fear. Right. Oh,
yeah. No kidding.
Really, really keep ourselves stuck. And our fear manifests itself in like procrastination and indecision, right? The what ifs, the shoulds. Are you shitting on me? We learned that, right? So I really love to help women work through that, those fears. And it's interesting because we beat ourselves up over procrastination. We think there's something wrong with us and there's not. It's just our brain trying to keep us in a safe place.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And so that tends to be for every client, even though each person is specific in their desire where they want their business to go. At the core, we tend to all have these fundamental fears that can really keep us from progressing quickly. And it's hard to, and especially like when you are an entrepreneur and you're working on your own a lot, it's hard to speak up and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Is there anyone else out there that's feeling afraid like this? We just want to look like we've got it all together and, and that we're succeeding and we don't want anyone to know about the struggle.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very true. I've experienced that myself, actually. Yeah, you do. And, it kind of fits into what you were talking about when, you're on one career path, it's not really for you. You step
Mhm.
out and all of a sudden, the people around you, like, because for myself, I was in oil and gas and then
Yeah.
stepped out into something like, I mean, I couldn't have gone the opposite way any further if I tried, really. And all of a sudden, though, but the people that were in your life, not only do they not understand, they don't know how to support you.
Right.
And so it does all of a sudden, it does really give you a sense of feeling alone.
Yes.
Yeah. And it wasn't until I started, I guess, acknowledging and stepping out that, yeah, this is who I am and this is what my passion is and what I want to do and how I want to help people.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I stepped into that role and started actually going out and saying, yeah, this is what I do, and meeting new people. And all of a sudden it was like, in some ways maybe unfortunate. I don't know. I've never had, I know this is going to sound horrible, but I've never had that over connection where letting people go was an issue. So, but I mean, but the people in my life did shift.
Yeah.
Some people, kind of fell off the radar
Yeah.
and new people showed up, but the new people were supporting what I was doing.
Yes.
And yeah, that lack of support is tough.
It is. Yeah. And like you said, especially at the beginning, when a lot of people in your circle don't really understand why you've made this choice
Yeah.
to take this path. And I also believe, so I also don't have a problem letting go of people. I have a saying, and it was something I had to figure out really quickly, because when I decided to leave my corporate job, I was actually a little bit surprised at the beginning. I kind of got this real backlash of negativity from my coworkers.
Yeah.
They didn't understand why I would ever make that choice. And I had to start saying to people, especially people that I was really close with, I care about you. I value your opinion, but I don't accept the negativity.
No,
and
yeah.
it's not going to change my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But definitely you do. Things shift. And especially as you're growing,
Yeah.
there's just some people that it's not going to fit. Their energy's not going to fit anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And that's such a huge part of it, is when you do make those changes and you do start shifting your energy. And usually if you are moving towards something that's your passion, you start running at a higher frequency, and anybody that's not up to standard or at least close, there is no connection anymore. It falls off.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's really interesting because someone close to me just recently said, at first I thought you made that decision out of anger, and I thought you were just, it was knee jerk and you were being really ridiculous. But now I see how courageous you were, and how I never would have been able to make that choice, and how my own fear tainted my perception of what you were doing.
Wow.
And now I believe you're courageous. And I wish I would have had the courage to do that, because I stayed at a job far too long and was really unhappy. And they had actually retired from that job and weren't making what they deserved to be making, but had never looked around looked up to see, is there any other choice? Because I felt scared.
Yeah.
What if I do leave and it doesn't work out? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that to me, and it's not that I needed that validation, but it really meant a lot to me to hear that their energy has shifted.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That they now understood that I didn't make the choice out of anger. I made it because I saw the potential. I saw that there was a different path, that I could think differently about the situation I was in and make a choice for myself.
Yeah.
That I just have to accept that this was the way it was going to be. And similar to what you're saying, it did. I careened off a completely different path. But being a coach really just tied together all the things I was already doing, because I was already really passionate about mentoring and helping other women. My whole life, people have been coming to me for advice. And when I started telling people, oh, I'm a coach now, lots of people said, oh, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can really see you doing that. I like, you've been my go-to for advice like this whole time. So now I just have the tools, the tool belt, and the understanding, the technique to really effectively help people create change. and in a really short amount of time, because once you have someone there helping you, you can create shifts in your energy and your perception, and really, really quickly.
Yeah.
Which is what I love doing.
Well, and it is so interesting. Everybody talks about the shift in consciousness, and it seems like such a huge part of that is women are stepping out as entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Like it's a massive shift.
Yes. No, I completely agree. And I see the power. Like, we have this collective power, and as more of us do it, we're going to change the world. Like,
Yeah.
I already see that shift, and I feel it really, like, especially like in Edmonton.
Yeah.
There are so many amazing women entrepreneurs here. And that's why I actually, myself and 2 other coaches, we started this women's networking event called YEG High Vibe Tribe.
Yes, and I can't wait.
I know, I'm so excited to have you come. We're all about bringing women together, women entrepreneurs and women in business. We have this really amazing mix of women that come to our events, not just entrepreneurs, but in helping them connect in ways beyond, oh, what's your name? What is your business? Like, how do you connect authentically? Like you were talking about, making that fast connection to know somebody beyond what is the name of their business and what do they do. And so that's something I'm really passionate about, because once we get to know each other, then you can see the opportunity to collaborate, to help each other in your businesses, whether it's just tagging and calling each other out, or doing something like this. It's something I'm really passionate about. And again, because it takes away the loneliness.
Yeah.
And it gives you the opportunity to speak up and say, oh, hey, you're having that same experience. So we do these really cool icebreakers at each meeting. So our last one was actually, we stood in a circle, and you could step in if you chose and speak a fear about your business. Mm-hmm. And if anyone else felt the same way, they could step in. Oh. And it was really powerful to see that so many other women were feeling the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like, I stepped in and said, I found out about this opportunity to speak, and I called one person, and they said, call this person. And then that person said, call this person. So all I had to do was make that last call, and I totally chickened out. Right? Like, I'd been okay for the first 2, and then I chickened out on the third. And it's like, why do we do that to ourselves? And so I was like, has anyone else done this? Right? You chicken out at the last second when you know you're going to get the answer, whether it's a yes or no. Right. And yeah, like, I think 5 other women stepped in with me. So, and then you're like, oh, okay, that's normal, right? Yeah. I'm not the only one feeling that way. So yeah, so that's what we're all about, is creating these connections. Because yes, they're like, the power we have collectively when we work together instead of being competitive with each other, it's a beautiful thing. It's amazing. And I've seen so many great friendships form already out of our group. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yes, absolutely. We have power. And there is definitely the shift. Like, I feel it every day when I'm getting out and meeting new women entrepreneurs. It's just, it's an amazing thing.
Oh, it's just been just incredible. And it is interesting. Like, just when you mentioned, women working together, or, it doesn't even matter, but entrepreneurs, just people in general, the more we work together, it's huge. I just thinking back to actually, and all of a sudden the word escapes me, transcendental meditation. That's what it is.
Okay.
When they talk about, having a certain number of people, and it's actually a really small number, all focused on the same thing, the shift that it makes. And,
absolutely.
Like, they've done it with crime rates in the States, and there's been significant lowering, over the period that they were doing it. And it's the same thing. I mean, we don't have to all get together and meditate, but, the power in just putting our energies together and focusing on one thing or a few things or whatever is.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because if we're sharing the same values, and as an entrepreneur, there tends to be things that you value, right? And when you're with other women who really understand that, it's just like the same, like, you're sharing your energy. Right. Mm-hmm. And they say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you're with people who understand you and have an uplifting and high vibe energy, that helps you in your day to day. It's just like if you know a person who, when they walk in the room, you feel better because they just have this amazing energy, right? Like, we share and exchange energy. So when you're with other women who understand the journey and the feelings you have, that can be so like huge for yourself and your own growth and how you feel on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, actually, it's interesting because you deal with women entrepreneurs, and I interviewed actually a women's empowerment coach actually a little while ago. Yeah. And it is really interesting just seeing, especially women that come out of the corporate world, and some of the women that, you know, and I'm not saying everybody, like definitely not, but how they come in with, you know, what we call the masculine energy. You know, I got to power ahead and power through this and blah, 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 blah. And they forget about kind of, the terms masculine and feminine energy seem to get such a male, female, you know, kind of spin off, and yet it's not. But, you know, I guess just to simplify things, we'll use those terms. But having that, that balance. Yes. So important.
It is, you know, so I have to admit, until last year, I would say I had a much more masculine energy, and I very much was not aware or was not open to my own feminine energy and even my concept of spirituality, not religion, but spirituality and my tying into the energy of the universe, right? And it's really been in my journey as a coach and meeting other coaches that I've been able to open myself up. And it absolutely is so important to have that balance. Yeah. Like, it's literally changed my life to be fully open to all of my qualities, not just my strong ones. Like you said, because when you are a corporate culture tends to be very male trait dominated. Yeah. You're not really allowed to show your emotions. And you're focused on the numbers and the strategy, and you leave your emotions at home. And so when I came out of that, I had to really evaluate, and I was very fortunate. I made a really close friend right in the first month of my business, and she helped me. She's an energy coach, and she really opened me wide open to be able to accept these other qualities that I have and to be okay with expressing them. And that helped me embrace my own story even more, and the power behind the fact that I was a mom at the age of 14. Yeah. Because that wasn't a story that I really shared with people. People in my really close circle knew about my background of being a mom and how I forged through high school. Like, I only took 2 weeks off of school when he was born, and graduated with honors, and then barreled through university, and because I was just very determined and very focused. But at the same time, I had really closed myself off to sharing my story, because it came with a lot of questions from people when I would say, oh, I'm a mom. And then it would be like, well, how old are you? What do you mean you're a mom? How did that happen? And you're like, no, these things are not really any of your business. And so I kind of built this wall, right? And it's been in opening myself up to my own feminine qualities that I've been able to see, like, oh, like I'm not fully accepting all of myself if I can't openly share that this is why I am so resilient and tenacious and determined, because these experiences formed who I am. Right. And I don't ever have a problem with what people care about me, because I had to decide from a very young age that people's opinions didn't get to like determine my decisions, because I had to do what was right for my son. Right. And so, it's been in just like fully opening myself up to both the masculine and the feminine energy of myself that's allowed me to be vulnerable enough to share my story with people. Yeah. And it's been very empowering. You know, I've always been a fairly empowered woman, especially I was really fortunate. I had some amazing women mentors in my corporation that really helped me fully embrace like my skill set and abilities, but being able to just really be vulnerable and openly share my story, and then to hear back from people that they find it inspiring, that really has empowered me a lot to just fully embrace all the parts of who I am and that balance. Yeah.
Well, and that balance is so important in, like, I mean, everyday life. It's who we really truly are. We may be a little stronger in, you know, I guess one end or the other, but ultimately it's that balance that, you know, work makes everything work in our lives so much better.
Yes, absolutely.
It is hard to accept, though. I mean, I worked in male dominated businesses for a long time. I was in forestry before oil and gas. I had positions where, being on forest fires, I was in charge of 80 guys at a fly-in camp. And it's like, well, now if that isn't an awkward situation, but
yeah, no joke.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have to have a real take charge, get things done kind of,
yeah. That's a really good way to get to learn about yourself, let me tell you.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm not saying that like those traits are still my dominant ones. I know I have a strong energy, and sometimes I have to be aware of that when I walk into a room. But it's easier to embrace my other qualities now as well, and to be really open to the concepts of energy and how I tie in and tap into the universe and the people around me, and how energy from other people affects me, and that I have to be aware of that as well, right? So that's been like huge learning for me, and really helps me manage my day-to-day life much better, actually.
Yeah, it is interesting, especially for entrepreneurs, actually, not like now that you say that, is, having, I guess, in a sense, the separation between business and life. And yet when your business is you, it's a reflection of you. So your energy everywhere else in life reflects within your business so much.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I said I really like to do a combination of coaching, life coaching, and business consulting, because there is no straight, there's no hard line when you're an entrepreneur, right? Your work and your life, they really intermingle, and they, weave together, and you can't separate them. And a lot, if there's something, if your spouse is not 100% supportive of your business, that can be really hard then to focus on your business, because you're trying to manage that relationship, and even and your mindset. If you're having an off day, and then it's hard to focus and get down to work and do the things you need to do. And especially if you work at home, there can be all kinds of things to distract you from the really important things that are going to, give you a return on your investment of time. But you're like, oh, I'll just go to do the dishes or run some laundry, right? Instead of getting to my
even, I'm, for all I'm business on the top and wearing pants and fuzzy slippers.
I know. I'm wearing fuzzy socks. So I will.
It is winter in Edmonton.
And nobody can tell. That is one of the good things about working from home too, though, right? But there's also a trade-off, because sometimes it's hard to get out of your cozy fuzzy pants and leave the house.
There are days I haven't showered.
Yeah, that's another one.
Well. But usually I try and pretty up at least a little before these calls. So,
I tried to, I really wish it was spring. So I'm so tired of the never ending winter, it's kind of starting to affect my mindset. So I'm like, I'm going to put on a nice spring scarf and a little bit of blue.
I've been saying spring's coming since November. So, and you know what? It is. It's almost here.
Yeah. And it is. And when you work from home, it is, because if you're in your house a lot and you're not getting out, and then it's cold outside, it gets hard to want to leave your house, and that affects your mindset as well. So I try and get on my treadmill once a day, but to kind of keep my energy up, because it can be really easy to just be like, I'm gonna go for a nap. It doesn't work. There's that too.
I've never done that. Actually, and that's one thing too, is I find, like you said, just even getting out of the house, often people I've just met or whatever, it's like, hey, let's go for coffee. Just so that I am out of the house, and having outside experiences.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And full on conversations with people that aren't in a professional type of, a client coach, relationship. I spend a lot of time in coffee shops as well. So especially, I love getting together and meeting new people and learning about, what their business is and about their life, and,
and it's important too, actually, especially people that are coaches or anybody that deals with other people, I guess, in some type of caring support. And the thing is, and I find this a lot with a lot of people that are in this type of work, is they don't remember to take care of themselves. There's a
Yeah.
lot of that going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think too, even like just time management and balance, not giving your all to your business
Yeah.
and not completely overwhelming yourself with the tasks of your business, that you're not spending quality time with the people you want to be with, or giving yourself your own self-care, right?
Yeah.
And I think self-care doesn't have to be going to the spa. It can just be sitting and reading or taking a nap. It's actually one of my favorite ways to self-care. I just have
That
to
is
not
a great
do
way.
much.
Always feel good after a nap.
You know, or taking 5 minutes to meditate. Like
Yeah.
self-care doesn't have to be really crazy, but it really means just like unplugging, right?
Yeah.
Unplugging from the responsibilities and the stress
Mm-hmm.
of your life and focusing inward to say, okay, like how am I doing right now?
Right.
And that definitely is something that a lot of women, and especially women entrepreneurs, because we have this like, I think we feel sometimes like there's this expectation of perfection. You have to like get all the things right. You know, your house should be clean and your kids should be happy and your husband should be looked after and your business should be running on all cylinders. And it's just like, it's not possible. At some point, you know, you need to think, okay, can I think about this differently?
Yeah.
Is this really that important?
Mm-hmm.
You know, or can I outsource something here? Maybe it's time to start bringing in a cleaner or hire a VA or right? Like hire someone to look after my social media. Don't feel like you need to do all the things yourself, because you'll just completely burn out.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, you can actually see a lot of that. And I wonder, like, I don't know, maybe let me know what you think, but it kind of seems like it is almost a lot of that masculine energy with that drive that can be a part of that. But then on the other hand, too, is our expectation of women is huge, like absolutely huge. Like, why do we have to do everything? And yet we've grown up that way. So we've learned that, you know, for most women, it is like, I have to do everything. And damn it, I'm going to do it. And, you know, no matter what it costs and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, it doesn't work out well most times.
No, it can make your life a lot more difficult than it needs to be. So I'll tell you, my husband is amazing, and we're very balanced in our house. In fact, he does most of the cooking and the laundry. I do the cleaning. He won't clean the bathtub, right? Like that's my job. So we have this pretty good balance in our home, and I see a lot of other women struggling, and it's like, it doesn't need to be that way. But you're right. Like we came out of a generation where that's the way it was. The women were responsible for the kids and the house, but then things have shifted, right? And so more of us are working outside of the home or as entrepreneurs. So then we've had this, like, we're off balance. And so I think things are slowly starting to change, but we need to really speed things up. And take away that expectation of perfection. You don't have to be responsible for all the things, because I can tell you it is amazing when you have balance and it's the husband and the wife, or the two partners equally distributing the responsibilities of the kids and the home, so that you can then both be happy, right? And balanced in your relationship and not have resentments because you feel like you're the one doing all the work. And then, it's a really great thing. But yeah, there is. And it very much is skewed towards the women. The expectation that you should be nurturing, and you should be organized, and you should be a good entrepreneur, a good employee, and like just be perfect all the time. And like, let's be realistic. Like, it's just not possible, right? Unless you're like Superwoman and have like infinite amounts of energy, which I don't.
No, apparently not according to your nap schedule.
I mean, I know there are women out there that they do it all and they do it well. But I think for the majority of us, that's a really difficult expectation to have on yourself.
Well, it really does come down to, you know what, just being yourself, like who you really truly are. Sometimes doesn't fit into the molds of what society says we should be. And learning to be okay with that is a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, it absolutely can be. And the other thing that's really funny too is sometimes it comes down to communication. Like you kind of settle into your relationship and this is the way it's always been. And then maybe something changes, right? Like maybe now you have started a new business and that's not working for you. So then you need to communicate to your partner and say, okay, this is not working. is there something we can do here? Can we shift this between each other? Can you take on more responsibility in the home? And if not, then can we hire someone?
Right.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with hiring someone to come in and clean your home. And if you work from home, it's actually in Canada, I just learned you can actually deduct part of that as a tax deduction if you work from home.
What?
I had no idea. Yes. My accountant just told me this. So something to consider if you're an entrepreneur. I had no idea. I don't know how much of it, but even a little bit makes a difference.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So, it's just, again, and like take away, and sometimes you have to just let go of control, right? And sometimes that's why we try and do all the things, is because we're trying to be in control. We think, well, it's only done right if I'm the one that does it. Well, maybe you need to just change your expectations a little bit. Again, that's like the perfectionism. Because it's like, is this working for you right now? Is having control of all the things working for you? Because if you're feeling like something's not right, then it's probably not working.
Yeah.
Yeah. Check with your accountant, but that's what my accountant told me. So I'm I'm on that.
As soon as I get an accountant, I'll check with them.
Okay. I can recommend one to you if you need.
Well, Kim, you know what? We're just about out of time here, and I could seriously sit and chat with you all day.
I know. It's been so much fun.
I know. And is there like anything else you just want to add real quick, or any events you have coming up, or I guess
really, I'm really passionate about, like, for women, just like, there's no such thing as a wrong decision. Just go for it. Just do it is like my favorite thing to say. So like, whatever it is you're thinking, like however big and scary it is, like, it's okay. Feel the fear, do it anyway. Right. That's what I would like to say.
Awesome. That is so cool. And your YEG High Vibe Tribe, when's the next meeting for that?
Our next meeting is March 16th. So March that's 16th? Next Friday. Okay. And we're going to be at the Good Earth Coffee House in Summerside.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so I'm really excited. So like I said, we do these really fun icebreakers that are about pushing you outside your comfort zone a little bit. And then I'll have so we meet every month. And so then we'll have another meeting in April. I think it's around the 21st, but you can find us on Facebook and on Meetup, so that you can get the information for our monthly meetings. And then right now we're just starting to put together some workshops. So I'm actually going to do probably like a public speaking workshop. Yeah. And we're going to do some other ones around growing your business. Because our meetings aren't really business centric. So we want to start having some workshops for people that are going to help them with their business as well.
Cool. Wow. That sounds great. Actually, I'm really excited about it. And next week I've got a few events to go to, and it's like, oh, this is so cool.
I think you'll have a lot of fun. Yeah, that too.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Kim. Oh my God, it's been such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Lynn.
Can't wait to chat again.
Yes.
And I will post, actually at the end of the podcast here, I will post some of Kim's information. So if you're looking for more information on Kim or the YEG High Vibe Tribe or some of the other amazing things Kim's doing, that will be at the end, as well as some information on Living Currents if you're looking for more information on myself. Or if you would like to be a guest or a sponsor of Mind Blowing Energy and You can contact me through Facebook or off my website. But thanks everybody for tuning in, and thank you again, Kim. It's been incredible.
Thanks, Lynn.
Everybody tune back in on Tuesday for another episode of Mind Blowing Energy and You, bringing the woo-woo to everyday living. And thanks again to our sponsor for today, A Chime for Healing, the handcrafted wind chimes tuned to healing frequencies. All right, everybody, go have a fantastic day.
Bye.